All right, fight fans, we're here with Coach Joel Diaz. We're here at the Diaz Brothers Training Academy. Coach just wrapped up a nice little workout on a Friday. Once again, thank you guys for opening the doors for this interview. Coach, a lot of movement going on in the 154 division. In the last couple of hours, there's been some fights that are ready to get materialized. By the time this interview comes down, they might be official, but one of the ones that came down earlier in the week is Sebastian Fundora versus Keith Thurman. Coach, what are your thoughts on that fight?
Well, it just it surprises me because Keith Thurman, at one point, recently I heard I'm not really into the news of boxing right now. I don't really get much information of who's fighting who, but the last thing I heard was that they were working on Keith Thurman and Vergil Ortiz, and that it didn't happen for some reason. Keith Thurman didn't want to fight Vergil, or I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's just. It just surprises me that Keith Thurman wants to fight, Fundora. I know right now Fundora's hot because he has a title, but that's a more dangerous fight to me than Fundora. Fundora has, longer reach. He's a little harder, a little complicated to fight because of his height and reach. Vergil's tough, but in that 154-pound division right now. Keith Thurman, he hasn't been active, on his last fight. To me, he didn't look that good, Right. But, fighting a Fundora, I don't think is the right move for him. But, if that's what's finalized, I think it's a good fight for Fundora.
Yeah, and again, obviously the odds that came out today, Fundora minus 700 favorite. Do you feel like he's that big of a favorite, or do you feel like as the fight gets closer, once it materializes, will it be?
Fundora is a big favorite because he is in his prime right now. He's in his prime. He's been active, and he's been doing really good. The way he executed, his last opponent. When he fought Tim Tszyu, he dominated Tim Tszyu. He broke him. After the first fight. The first fight was a little questionable because the cut, he was a big distraction just having all that blood on his face. But on the rematch, he really did what he had to do. He frustrated him. He was beating him down, and it was only getting worse. So right now, Fundora's hot. It's he's the favorite, and he deserves it.
Obviously, Fundora known as a towering opponent right here out of Coachella Valley. He's known obviously for that reach. Do you feel like he's gotten better since he held that title? There's some boxing pundits that say that he's gotten better. His confidence has skyrocketed since picking up that title.
Every fighter, based on the opposition he faces, he gains experience, and that's what you mean by better. Fundora obviously got better because he built confidence and he gained experience throughout his fights. Fighting Tim Tszyu. Look, he's already at that level because Tim Tszyu was a very dangerous opponent for him in the first fight. He wasn't supposed to win the fight from the beginning, and look, he beat Tim Tszyu, and then he beat him again. He beat him the second time, and that made him gain experience and confidence. That's why he is where he is.
There's a lot of fight fans that are judging Fundora for picking a 37, 38-year-old Keith Thurman. Do you feel like that criticism is warranted, or do you feel like, hey, his manager, his team is making the right move, business wise?
I don't think he picked him. Let's get that right. Fundora does not have the right to say, "Yeah, I want that fighter." He doesn't he didn't pick him. It's the business of sport. The promoters see who's out there, who's available, and who will play out in a good fight. Right now, we need good fights. Keith Thurman is 37 years old. He hasn't had much activity. He was out for a long time, and honestly, since the last time I saw Keith Thurman, was against Josecito Lopez, and Josecito Lopez gave him a run for his money, and that was years ago. At this point, he's aged. He's 37 years old, not much activity. I think this is the time for Fundora to shine. I honestly think Fundora will knock him out before the 10th.
Is there any way that Keith Thurman can turn back the clock of time, Coach? He was once upon a time called one time. Keith Thurman can do it one more time?
No, he can't. He can't. Not against a Fundora. He can do it against maybe another fighter at his level, and when I mean at his level is at his age, somebody from his era. But at this point right now, Fundora's hot. I mean, anybody like right now, like Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz, he has no chance.
Yeah. After this fight, let's say the pundits are right and the odds makers are right. Fundora wins. Does he have pressure to take on an actual in their prime fighter? Do you feel like after that, he gets like a bit of a pass business wise taking this kind of fight? Do you think there's pressure for him to actually take a top 5 fighter?
Fundora?
Yes.
There's no pressure. He has a title. He's a champion. There shouldn't be no pressure. I mean, being a champion, I mean, you can pick and choose. Obviously he's looking for the best fights, but eventually he's gonna have to fight somebody out there, and the big names like Vergil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, those guys in the 154-pound division, and it's because that's the way boxing is. It's not that he's picking and choosing. It's just that that's the way it plays out. Mandatories. There's mandatories, and then there's rankings. So right now he is a world champion, and of course he needs to fight against the top 5 best fighters in the world. And right now, I don't think he chose Keith Thurman. I think his promoters decided that's a good fight for him right now.
And of course, like we said, a lot of movement in the 154 division. Another fight that just got announced or that's in the works via the Ring Magazine, via my commentator, is Vergil Ortiz against Erickson Lubin that dropped a couple hours ago in the works. So what are your thoughts on that fight, Vergil Ortiz against Erickson Lubin?
It's a good fight. It's a really good fight for both of them. Styles make fights, and I think Vergil Ortiz's aggression. He's aggressive. He's consistent. He's strong. He's very disciplined. That's gonna be a big factor in the fight. I think Vergil Ortiz at this point, he's made for the big fights. He still has a few fights in him that are gonna be really good, where he's gonna be still showing the fighter that he is and the champion that he is. Eventually, he's gonna be fighting those top names, and he's gonna be putting up some great fights. And this is a good fight for him right now.
And there's a lot of comments, being dropped on social media. Erickson Lubin was slated to be the mandatory for Bakhram Murtazaliev. When this kind of fight happens, what happens behind the scenes for an Erickson Lubin to say, hey, you know what? Instead of taking that title fight, I'd rather fight a Vergil Ortiz. Is it the money? Is it?
It's the money. Is the money and the opportunity. And sometimes, I mean, there's easier fights, but when there's more money, I mean, obviously you're going for the money. It's a bigger opportunity. I know the risk is more of a risk, but there's more money. And if he wins, obviously he'll be up there. He'll be in the top best fighters out there. Beating a Vergil Ortiz, it's a good risk to take.
Yeah, and Lubin's been in there with big punchers, as in Ramos has been in there with the Charlos. You've been opposite Vergil Ortiz. How does an Erickson Lubin, obviously without giving away your game plan, how does an Erickson Lubin fight somebody that's volume puncher, come forward, strong fighter like Vergil Ortiz?
He's gonna have to be in the best shape of his life, because Vergil, he's always there in front of you, and he works the body, he works the head. He has really good. He has a really good boxing IQ. Once he feels that he got you, he'll break you until he finishes you. You cannot make mistakes against Vergil Ortiz.
And in the past, you talked about to take out an Ortiz, you have to hurt him. There's fighters that can try to box him, but that volume is too much. Does Erickson Lubin have enough tools in the tool shed to pull up an upset?
Anybody can. Anybody has the tools to put an upset, but you just have to train really hard and have that mentality, because when you're in that ring with Vergil Ortiz, honestly, you're gonna feel pain, and you're gonna have to go through pain from beginning to end, and you're gonna have to overcome that pain and push hard. Bohachuk did it. Bohachuk, he was there and he fought hard, but Bohachuk has great conditioning, great stamina, and he did great. He did a really good fight against Vergil Ortiz. I don't know if Lubin can do the same as Bohachuk did, but that's basically what you need. You need, similar style as Bohachuk, but with a little bit more consistency and a little bit more volume.
And there was a name that was being thrown out for Lubin, as I mentioned earlier, Bakhram Murtazaliev, who a lot of people are calling him the boogeyman. What he did to Tim Tszyu last October has a lot of fight fans putting him up there in that 154-pound division. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on Murtazaliev? what are your thoughts of him as a fighter and moving forward?
Murtazaliev is very dangerous. You know, he's a very dangerous fighter. You know, actually coming back from a loss against Fundora, and Tim Tszyu, it was also the right time for Murtazaliev to come in and put up a great victory over Tim Tszyu. But you know, he needs. He's a fighter that a lot of 154 pound fighters are avoiding. Why? Because nobody knows him, and he's very dangerous.
Yeah, it's high risk, little reward
It's a high risk, not much a reward, but that guy is very dangerous. That's why they're keeping him on the outside, unless they have to, unless it's a mandatory, unless it's necessary. But meanwhile, they're going to keep him out there because he's very dangerous. He has power. He's aggressive. He fights really well.